Hey everybody, EDGYTim here. How are you? I hope everyone's doing well. And again, just glad to be back with you. We are through the holiday season, so it is January 9th. Um, the national championship game is tonight for NCAA football, so looking forward to that. Georgia and TCU. And we'll see the recruiting process start picking up here again. Through the early signing day. Now we're eyeing February 1st. Wednesday, February 1st is the start of the final, shall we call it, the signing period for the class of 2023. So hopefully we will see recruiting start to pick up. And I say hopefully, being hopeful. It has not been a busy recruiting period. And in a little bit, I'll get to some of the stories over the weekend that maybe you missed. But we definitely should go over and talk about a little bit some key names for sure making college decisions, and again, the impact of the transfer portal, some previous land of Lincoln bred names that are switching programs, and a couple here for the better. So we'll get into that as well. But yeah, it's been a really strange December going into January for high school football recruiting in the state of Illinois. Um, just not a ton going on. What has really been kind of eye opening, and I'll start to get a better handle on some of this week going into next week. But just the sheer amount of kids making official visits in January seems to be very small. The kids that have made official visits are transfer portal guys. Seen very few high school names so far out on the road making official visits, and that's not a good sign at all. We're going to get into the transfer portal. We already have a bit. I'm going to continue to dig into that and lay out some other things going on in the football recruiting world, especially for you parents and recruits, because I mean, this process has just gone so crazy over the last 6 months, 12 months. Really an incredible amount of impact on the recruiting landscape. It's completely changed in 6 months, and not for the better when we're talking high school recruits. And we'll dig into that, and I'll try to give you as much insights and education and feedback as possible. But it's a really tough time right now. They're just asked just about any 2023 uncommitted high school player. They're just not hearing from schools. They're just not hearing from the amount of schools that they would have in the past. And you would have quite a few kids that, might have got overlooked a little bit, start hearing from schools. Well, I haven't heard a lot of those calls yet. So stay tuned. Some news that happened over the weekend. We'll get into some of this. And the first one I want to talk about is Malik Elzy, Chicago Simeon, 4-star ranked by Rivals. Made it official. It was kind of like not exactly a huge surprise for anyone that had followed his recruiting, but Malik originally committed to Cincinnati, then decommitted during the season. Came down. He had 5 hats on the table at the All-American Bowl on Saturday, and named Illinois. I'd heard he had already signed his letter already signed his NLI earlier in the week to Illinois, so that was kind of a done deal. But was able to have the announcement on national TV, which was nice. It was nice to see Malik and his family and friends make the announcement on TV. But again, not a real big shocker. I think this was expected for a while. So again, I think it means a lot for Brett Bielema and the University of Illinois. It's a really good way to kind of finish off this 2023 class. It definitely adds some oomph and some star power to a class that I thought overall from an in-state perspective was solid, was a good effort. I think adding Malik Elzy ramps that up even a little bit more. I don't know if I would call it a top-tier recruiting effort for the in-state for Illinois in 23. But again, we've talked about this before with Illinois. And my feeling, my opinion is Illinois really starts being on the clock, in my opinion, starting in the class of 2024. It's to me, to be fair, it's really hard to be overcritical of maybe some of the higher tier kids that Illinois were not able to land, because let's face it, just from a timing standpoint, you look at the Miles McVeys and the high level kids that ended up committing to other schools. Illinois just did not have the amount of time recruiting those kids as some of those other schools, and I definitely think played an impact. So again, Brett Bielema and his staff done a terrific job. Boots are definitely on the ground. They definitely have established themselves as very solid in-state recruiters, and it's going to be exciting to see how Illinois kind of takes off from here. Nice season this year, obviously. 8 wins, came up a little short in the bowl game, but again, great to see Illinois winning, doing some positive things, and hopefully it'll start reflecting, I believe, starting in 2024 with the recruiting group. A group that Illinois, from an in-state perspective, already has a nice start on. So we'll see how things build up. So again, especially the next 3-4 months going into the summer and spring into the summer, we'll get a lot of answers. There's no doubt of who Illinois is truly targeting, who they really have a shot at, and who they might be behind or a little bit missing on. So it'll be fun to watch. So again, Malik Elzy, love him as a player. He's a kid that just, big, strong, physical receiver, has better than you'd expect speed, really good hands. And I'll be honest, and I don't call this a knock, but I think it's at some point during his high school career, I almost think Malik might have got bored a little bit with the high school game. Honestly, I especially I thought his sophomore and the junior year, Simeon wasn't playing great. I think Malik wasn't getting maybe as utilized as maybe he had thought, or some others that thought he would have been in that offense. And again, I give Dante Culbreth and his coaches all the credit in the world, especially this past season, able to get Malik involved. I thought Malik showed a ton of ability playing defense as well, and he did that the last couple of years. And I thought Malik really, as a senior, rose to that high level and played at a very high level. And I thought he was much better this year than he was the previous 2 years on the varsity for the Wolverines. So I thought he really showed up this year and was a huge factor in Simeon's success this past season. So again, there's a lot to like about Malik Elzy, and I think he's ready to really take that next step, and his game is really going to take off from here. So I'm excited to see how his career definitely progresses at Illinois, no doubt about it. Another, again, we talked about the portal, and there's a couple of names that have popped up over the weekend. Start with Jake Renfro, originally Providence Catholic offensive center. He was a 3-star coming out, committed early to Cincinnati. Jake, very good career at Cincinnati for the last couple of years. Was an established starter, very, very highly thought of. Put together a couple of good seasons here back to back. Well, he ends up going into the transfer portal. Obviously, with Cincinnati, Coach Fickle end up getting hired out of Cincinnati to Wisconsin. And Jake will follow his former head coach, Luke Fickle, to Wisconsin, and gave the Badgers his verbal commitment. So, again, I think Wisconsin's getting a great player in Jake Renfro. Just love his overall game. Good-sized kid, really good strength. You watch, I'm tagged on a lot of his videos on Twitter, his workout videos, and you see how much bigger and stronger he's gotten. And again, I just loved him as a player coming out of Providence in high school. So I think that's a terrific move for Jake, winding up at Wisconsin and playing for the Badgers. And another name to watch, and I think a real good feel-good story for sure, is Marcellus Johnson. Again, played at Normal Community, came out, was a 2-star, got ranked by us as a 2-star, ended up committing and signing to Eastern Michigan, had a couple of really good years, ended up playing offensive tackle for the Eagles. He comes out, goes into the transfer portal. I believe he has one more year left, and winds up going to Mizzou. So he's going to be playing in the SEC for one more year. And again, Marcellus is a terrific story. Hardworking kid. I believe he's up to 6'3", 6'4", around the 300-pound range now. And again, hails from a terrific bloodline in the Johnson family. I know Dylan Johnson is at Joliet Catholic, his younger brother. His older brother, Eric, is in the NFL. So again, just terrific bloodlines there with the Johnson family, and Marcellus is again a kid that played at Normal Community. I thought did a really nice job down there, and I thought got a little bit under the radar a little bit recruiting wise, and again definitely makes a move up, goes to Eastern Michigan, and now he's going to finish his career at Mizzou. So again, another nice story there coming out of the transfer portal, which again we're not seeing as many as we'd like. There's obviously a lot of kids going to portal. And I think the percentages recently have been as close as 50% end up not getting placed. So it's not always a great route, the transfer portal, and that's something we will continue to get into and talk about. But just some thoughts there on the recruiting goings on. Stay tuned. I'll have a video, a recap video, usually every Monday this year in the off season, certainly during the winter months here, and try to break down some of the latest news. When news breaks, when recruits break, we'll have that as well. But just thought I'd touch base with you and give you a little extra video. Some things coming up again a week from today, the EDGYTim Underclassmen Showcase at the Mack Center in McCook, powered by EFT. Sorry, my nose running a little bit like everyone else. I got a cold. Excited to be back at McCook. Excited to be back with this great event. A lot of recruiting media will be in attendance, covering it. Some really good exposure, recruiting exposure, some college coaches there as well. So just looking forward to getting the gang back together a week from Monday. Registration still open. We will keep it open as long as the slots are still open. But as what usually is the case, a lot of the stuff, especially some key spots, quarterback, receiver, they're getting close to filling up already, and we're a week out. So do not hesitate. If you have any plans of attending, and you really should, I think it's a good time. It's a good date. The advantage of my camp with EFT is the fact that we do not test. You don't have to run a 40. We're not going to do any physical testing. It's all going to be football-related drill work, specifically football-oriented. You're going to get judged on your football skills only at this camp. Again, we're going to have a couple of different twists and some new things this year. We have the U.S. Marines involved, and that should be fun. At a new aspect of it, some best of the best and what have you. So a lot coming a week from Monday at McCook. Go online, just check my Twitter. I've been tweeting out links a couple of times a day, and get signed up and get noticed and get seen. So yeah, stay tuned. Plenty coming your way. Have a great week, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.